total of 5 speakers to go through over the course of about an hour and a half. So we're going to give each speaker about 15 minutes or so, and we want to let people ask questions in between the speakers so you can remember your questions instead of waiting at the end. I always forget. So with that, I would like to bring up our first speaker, Robert Tung. And I'll leave it to you to do the bio of whatever you feel like you need to say. So.
Good morning. This is a modeling session. So we are talking about how to visualize traffic simulation model results. And my name is Robert Tung, and I've been doing the travel demand forecasting for the past 30 years, and also developed a software tool to help the planner engineer to do the forecasting, analyze the results. Recently, the model has been transitioned from static model to dynamic model, so we get more data to analyze these days. So my subject, the presentation topic is about how to effectively visualize the simulation model results, and this is a dynamic model results. So how big data play in the travel model these days? So why we get a big data in travel model these days? So to define the big data, we usually use three components: volume, velocity, variety. So in terms of volume, the travel model is becoming more fine-grained these days, and also more time-dependent these days. The model used to be aggregate. Now we are doing disaggregate model. So you can see the model. We have an individual household to simulate, individual vehicle to simulate these days, and also from static to dynamic. So static model usually you can get optimal results based on some kind of analytical tools like user equilibrium, that kind of a concept. But nowadays we are using more dynamic, more simulation-based model. So you can simulate it in continuous time to time. And also the model nowadays is focus from planning to operation. So used to be we use a model to do long-range forecasting, like a demand forecasting. But nowadays, capacity is not much room for adding more capacity, not many space to add new road, building new highways. But nowadays, how to maximize your current facility, current capacity. So operation management has become focused in these days, and also certainly will be in the future. And also the model will get bigger because your spatial resolution is getting much finer. So it used to be the model just kind of sketch the stick network, node. But nowadays the networks is represented just like the real street pattern based on the GIS. And also why big data? We get so much new data these days. Because the new data produced very fast speed these days. Because all these data providers these days, like InRigs, they get collecting data on a real-time basis. So you can get new data like traffic volume, traffic speed, maybe minute by minute or even second by second. And so you get a whole bunch of the data you can use. And also the GPS, smart devices, smartphone. Also track a lot of data, all travel behavior, and all this data just build up the volume, of the database. And certainly all this data bring in some complexity, and also come in very different formats. So how to interrelate the different data sources that become a challenge these days. So there are 3 levels of modeling we can talk about: macro, meso, and the macro model. So the macro model, macroscopic model is pretty much low-based behavior assumption and also trip-based assumption. Then the time is more like a discrete time. Okay, like we usually simulate like a morning peak period, morning peak hour, afternoon peak hour in a separate simulation. And also the network capacity is not a constraint. So it's because it's a demand-driven model, so its capacity is not reflect the real constraints. Okay. So the macroscopic model is good for regional travel demand forecasting. That's like a regional governments, city government usually do along the 10, 20 years long-range forecasting. The mesoscopic model then is a little bit more detailed in terms of driving behavior assumptions, because it kind of treat instead of a zone-to-zone, trip-to-trip, now it has a real kind of traffic flow theory behind it. So it's based on the average platoon, that kind of a driving behavior assumption. Certainly, it's not like a microscopic later on I will mention. It's based on the individual vehicle driving behavior assumption. And but the mesoscopic also do continuous time-based performance. Usually it's like a minute by minute or down to second by second. But the macroscopic can be down to sub-second, the vehicle simulation. So you can track the vehicle position in pretty much in real time, the macroscopic. And the mesoscopic is based on it also was search for user equilibrium, but it's a dynamic user equilibrium. Okay, so it's based on the traffic, the link flow density relationship, and to search for the user equilibrium, dynamic user equilibrium. So the mesoscopic model is good for route choice and mode choice behavior analysis. Because, for example, if you do a regional mesoscopic model, you can, when you, for example, you implement certain toll roads in a certain area, you want to see how traffic are diverted from to the adjacent roads. So that is good mesoscopic level analysis. Then down to the macroscopic, so there will be very fine-grained simulation model will be individual vehicle driving behavior assumption, and there also sub-second vehicle simulation, and also it's based on car following and lane changing theories. So it's good for inter-vehicles and the corridor operational studies. Certainly, that kind of details certainly is not good meant for the large area. So usually it's for small corridors, or maybe just a single intersection or several intersections. So this is kind of an example of the network resolution. We start from, this is the old-fashioned network representation. For example, the whole interchange just represented by one node. Okay. That's probably 10, 20 years ago. That's what kind of a model resolution we can deal with. Then from there, we build up in between the median resolution. So the interchange can represent by several nodes and several links. So each ramp has its own link, but it doesn't maintain the shape. Okay. But nowadays we are doing the higher resolution simulation model, the network representation. It's based on the GIS, so we can see all the curvature of the feature points are preserved in the network. So with that kind of resolution, certainly you can talk about there will be more links, more nodes in the model, and certainly there will be more data you need to collect. So that's why the database gets bigger. So now my focus is on the dynamic traffic assignment. So using the DynusT, and this is a tool we've been developing. So this is it's a kind of in between. So it's a mesoscopic simulation model. So it's based on sometimes simplified driving assumptions. So car following and lane changing behavior. But it does have a very rich travel behavior representation. So you can have an assumption on the departure time choice. So that means each person, when they make a trip, they will determine when they want to depart based on their perceived travel time, predicted travel time later on. And also route choice and mode choice, diversion choice, and the model is very sensitive to like a work zone management, work zone For example, you have a certain roads under construction and certain traffic may divert to other routes. Okay, and also the congestion pattern, also the in-road information. For example, if the highway has a certain post, a certain sign, say okay, there will be traffic slow down the road, so then you can make a decision, simulate where you want to switch, divert the roads. And the pricing also is a big application these days using the DTA because of the tolling effect, congestion pricing effect. Because dynamic pricing, you cannot be simulated by the traditional static model. So dynamic model gives you better ideas and how driver will react to this different price at a different time. And also the evacuation also is also a big application in using DTA. So the mesoscopic DTA is because it has some kind of simplified behavior assumption, so its computation is fast and also can handle a large regional network for 24-hour continuous simulation. So this is several MPO we have recently deployed the DTA. For example, you can see that in terms of 24-hour demand, is ranging from 4.6 million to up to 34 million vehicles a day. So we can talk about basically you simulate the entire region. Okay, so that's kind of things we like to see for the planners. Give you a holistic view of the whole traffic pattern. So what is the visualization needs for DTA? Because the DTA model certainly will generate lots of data, tons of data, and how do we visualize the results? You know, it's a table, charts, probably it will be not enough for visualization in this purpose. So for DTA simulation model results, the purpose is we need to visualize a vehicle trajectory, because the main output from a DTA model is a vehicle trajectory file for each individual vehicle. So it's like an itinerary for each vehicle. So it's from point to point, when you leave a point, when you arrive at a point. Okay, that information will embed a lot of the congestion information. Okay. And also to visualize the bottleneck and spillback. Okay, basically that's how the congestion was formed, and also traffic diversion and temporal profiles, system-wide measure of performance measures, and also scenario comparison is also very key, because you have for you implement certain measures, certain network, and then you want to see what's the differences before and after. So scenario comparison is very important. And also real-time data nowadays is getting very popular, so you also want to visualize the real-time data, and also real-time data also later on can help you to calibrate model and validate the model. Okay, here is like a vehicle trajectory display. On the right, this is each line represents the individual vehicle trajectory. But if you animate those data vehicle kind of through the space, you can see how those vehicles travel through the time, and also the dark car represent those cars are traveling in the very slow speed, like a stop and go condition. So that represents congestion is forming. So now, if you freeze those snapshots, then you can get this kind of pattern. So you can identify those dark spots. Those are pretty much the congestion areas you want to focus on later on to see why they get a slowdown, and what the causes to get those slowdown. So this kind of the visualization, the maps give the model a good idea. To diagnose the data, whether maybe there's a coding error, or maybe we'll miss a signal or somewhere, so that cause that slowdown. Okay. And you can see the whole region. in this kind of map. And also, that's so you can see if you do a kind of overlay of the snapshot, you can see how those where are the slowdown area. So you can see those are dark colors and represent those concentration of the slowdown vehicles. And certainly, this is a downtown Chicago area, and you can see identify the bottlenecks and also the queue kind of pattern. And so later on, you can also investigate why that caused this problem, or that maybe that's the truth. Maybe that's your forecast. That's your future traffic pattern under certain scenario. And then based on those results, you can calculate the system performance measures and present to your decision makers. Okay, this is what the results gonna be. Okay, under certain policies. Okay, another way to display the traffic congestion is by using the density maps. So each link has a certain flow, and you can classify the flow based on the density data. Like the green means there's no congestion, and the darker color represent the high volume. Okay, high volume in terms of comparing to the capacity. The circles represent the cumulative delays at that point. So you can see this is basically giving you a snapshot of the congestion patterns through the day, through time. Then here you can just apply the volume with the density data to give you another dimension of the congestion pattern. So if you see the wider band with the darker color, certainly that will be the indication as a major congestion spot there. So this is a downtown Portland area. And also for the scenario comparison, you feel, for example, here we are simulating bridge closure in downtown Chicago. So the green means that the volume drop compared to the base scenario, and the red means the volume increase. Okay, so you can see where the traffic diverted to. Okay. And also the real-time data, when you download the INRIX real-time speed data, you can just display the speed based on different colors, and also you can overlay your historical speed, average speed data, or your post-speed data to calculate the delays. So those circles are representing the cumulative delays throughout the day. So you can see give you an instant picture of the congestion pattern in Los Angeles area. Okay, some of the data you don't have to animate. Okay, so you can. The static chart will be still important. So this will be represent the temporal profile based on the system, the simulation results. Okay. Here's represent the departure arrival profiles. Okay, for 24 hours. Then here represent your travel time throughout the day. For example, if you travel during the peak hour, morning peak, your travel time will be longer than your travel. You'll start your travel during like a weekday, or also in the early morning. Okay, so this will give you a pattern of the travel time. Then here give you a travel time associated with what's the delay, and also the volume relationship. And also the data can also commonly can be represented as called the time-space heat map. So here is like a time. This is a time interval. And here is the distance. Okay, for a certain corridor, you can see how congestion vary by given time and by different distance. So this one is this map represents a less congested corridor. This one represents a more congested corridor. Okay, last slide. Okay, so all this data will be no use if we do a good data mining. So what's the purpose of visualization? Is we get the data. The data will get bigger and bigger, no doubt about it. But we need to turn the data into a smart prediction. That's the whole purpose of visualization and the data mining. So that will be the future. Okay, for all these planners has to work on it. Okay, thank you. That's my thing.
So we have some time for a few questions, if anybody has any questions.
Hi, I thank you very much. It was a good presentation, enjoyable and informative. Can you please tell me where the data is coming from in terms of volumes? Are you using trip tables?
Okay, here is the demand. Okay, the volume is from the demand data. The demand data will be from for DTA is from you have your travel demand model to generate the trip tables. And the trip table will feed into the simulation model.
And what's the temporal resolution of these trip tables?
But right now we can do it hour by hour, but it can certainly down to the 15 by 15 minutes.
Thank you.
How do you validate the OD? I mean, because the result, the quality of results, whatever temporal distribution that you do, depend on the validity of those OD. I mean, otherwise.
Well, that depends on what is your horizon year you are talking about. If you do a short-term modeling, OD probably will be not as good as you do a long-term.
But think about, if you do it today, even if you do it today, you better buy index data, and then you would have an excellent representation of today. And you buy 6 months data, and you have a distribution of all that representation. So, reality now, if you go into the future, even 5 years, then the quality of the OD is essential. And then how you propagate that.
Okay, let me answer you this question. Okay, because right now, the bigger data will just come in within years. Okay, we haven't built up enough history of the archive pattern. Maybe 10 years down the road, we probably will be getting more smarter because we have accumulated enough data to analyze, to establish a pattern, the OD pattern. So I would say in the future, the OD always a challenge for planners because we don't know. Okay, the land use pattern changing all the time. Okay, and the OD also changing all the time. But in the future, with all this bigger data, we accumulate it and we analyze. And also with all those autonomous car, whatever those active demand management, all this modern technology. Actually, the travel behavior will be more predictable in the future. So that means the OD pattern will be somewhat more predictable. So that's what we are hoping for. So that's how we say, okay, it's smarter prediction, okay, built on the bigger data.
So with that, I'd like to thank our speaker.